Build and deploy a new desktop as a service offering built on top of Windows Virtual Desktop. The entire package would be streamed from Microsoft Azure servers. Microsoft is attempting to create a true virtualized Windows PC experience, indicated by a job description that is looking for a programmer manager for Microsoft's Cloud PC team. The description of Cloud PC isn't detailed or specific, but does indicate what the job entails. Microsoft Cloud PC is a strategic new offering that is built on top of Windows Virtual Desktop to deliver desktop as a service. At its core, Cloud PC provides business customers with a modern, elastic, cloud-based Windows experience and will allow organizations to stay current in a more simplistic and scalable manner. Harumph, harumph, bullpucky, bullpucky. Clearly, Microsoft is currently calling the coming virtualization surface Cloud PC. It appears the Cloud PC initiative won't replace locally installed Windows and the core MS apps. However, it could be offered as an option for customers who want to use their own PCs, basically like thin clients with Windows Office and potentially other software delivered virtually by Microsoft. Microsoft could be modeling Windows 10 Desktop as a service along the lines of Microsoft 365. It could be managed by Microsoft and sold for a flat per-user price. Windows Virtual Desktop pricing generally revolves around Azure server time and resource consumption, so it's likely that Cloud PC will do the same. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that is Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is, would you like Windows as a yearly subscription? And your choices are, oh, yes, please. Maybe. What's the price? No, thanks. Not on your tin type. Windows? And other. So far, we've got 32 votes in the poll. Windows is in the lead with almost half, followed by no thanks, followed by not on your tin type. 3 of you think maybe, what's the price? And 1 person said other. Of course, if you said other, please head over to our forums at soundbytes.org. That's Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you. Scroll down on the right under Fascinating Stuff, and you'll see the forum. Second forum down is the poll discussion. Currently, at least, the number one item under poll discussions is 1 August 20. Would you like Windows as a yearly subscription? And, of course, you can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415. Or, of course, you can text us at Jazz 90.1's brand new text line, 585-205-8887. But if you do that, please give us more information than just my computer's not working.
Yeah.
And be prepared either to call in or re-text us if we ask you a question. But yeah, so.
Gee, I think we said before that, and a lot of folks doubted us
Yep.
when we said, Windows is going to a subscription-based service. So many are. I mean, and this is the way of the future.
Well, they're not getting the money that they need to continue giving their shareholders big profits.
Mm-hmm.
And one way they can do that is to keep bleeding the people who run Windows.
There can be advantages if Microsoft can get their act together and start releasing good updates, then you would always have the best, newest version. That's a big if.
You made it funny.
Well, and that's, of course, part of the problem. For the last year, Microsoft has had not one good update.
Nope.
They have had to release patches, at least, if not patches on patches on patches, for every single update in the last year. And consequently, even if I were still running Windows, I would be very reluctant to use an online version of Windows.
And some of the patches haven't been, minor annoyances or a crash here and there. They have been delete all the data on your drive, delete your user folder.
And how secure is my information going to be up on their server?
Well, that's the other thing. It's that who do you trust game we've been playing. And it's a real issue that people are going to be. I actually had a little exchange with the guy who got my job when I retired, which is a politer way of saying he took my job, I suppose. He didn't. I retired and he got the job. But I always tell people he took my job. But I said to him, this was actually for another reason, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I said I am so so glad I don't do tech support anymore because it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yeah.
But and of course I do it here on Saturdays and my newsletter and everything else. But one of the main reason, the thing that precipitated that discussion was that you can now apparently in Windows 10 use emoticons as file names.
That's so deadly.
So you could say catface.doc.
Apple's been having a lot of trouble with foreign language and emoticons in text messages, and now you're going to make it a file name to get interpreted, and then
Also, how do you find it? No, I called it smiley face. Well, you didn't.
Right.
Was it laughy face? Was it laughy face with tears?
All right, but whose emoticons do you use? What standard? Which ones are going to be the standard? Because you could have two different cat faces, say.
Right.
By different companies.
Each OS has
and which
their own,
one is, it's going to be different.
So there's that classic example where the water pistol on some computers look like a regular real pistol, and on some devices it looked like a colored green water pistol.
Right.
And that was an interesting thing. Let's go to the park with our water pistols became let's go shoot up the park.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and then how do you share those documents?
Yeah, you give it to someone with another OS, and they have suddenly something different.
Right.
And again, the different emoticons that they're using.
Right. Well, and it may not even show up as an emoticon.
Yeah.
If I can't use Unicode in my file names at that height, at that
or some folks might
how
not
high
use
those go in the.
Or some folks might not use them at all.
That's right.
Or if my OS is newer than yours, I have an icon that you don't.
Right.
Because you haven't upgraded yet.
Right. No, it's a very bad idea, but I think both of these are bad ideas. I think that we definitely have some potential for problems because, again, it is look, I run a Chromebook, and that runs off the cloud, but it also runs without the cloud. If I lose my internet connection, my Chromebook continues to sail along just fine, thank you very much. Will that be true of thin client Windows?
Well, what it will be is an opportunity for corporations to buy a Windows host server.
Right, at umpteen thousands of dollars.
And then per client seat.
Right.
For all of their thousands of users to access it.
And that's assuming that that the internet access remains internally. They can still do it internally.
Yeah.
But if I'm out in the field,
which so many people are now,
if I'm working from home or I'm a salesperson, I'm out in the field, I got nothing.
Yep.
It's going to be an absolute nightmare. Anyway, again, give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415, just like Ed did from Ithaca, New York. Hi, Ed. What's up?
Hi, guys. First, a question about what you were just saying. If Microsoft goes to the web for that, does that mean that the updates won't be affecting my computer?
Yes, they will. There will be no updates for your computer.
Yeah,
they will all happen.
Be an advantage.
They have already announced when Windows 10 updates will stop for the current Windows 10.
Right. So yes,
We'll look up
would
that
be,
date in a minute.
That's you're absolutely right. That is an advantage if they get it right.
Yes.
Right. So and theoretically, if it's only and there's got to be somebody who thought this through and thought, you know what, if we control the environment, then we can control the updates better. So you're right. It might be a good thing in terms of I'm still running Windows and my updates now don't bork my whole machine.
Windows 10 just turned 5. I saw that in the blog the other day, and released in July of 2015, was the first version of Windows 10. So the current version of Windows 10, 2004, support ends December 14th, 2021. And so previous versions, so the most recent one that's ending is 1903 and 1803, which are ending in November. 1709 ends in October. So if you haven't loaded recent updates, your support has already ended.
Right.
Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But that wasn't what I was calling about originally.
Right.
I'm calling about, and it may be related to Windows, but I doubt it. I've got a Windows machine. It's my printers. I have an HP 4100, which has been chugging along smoothly. I added an HP old 5L to see if I could get that working. And what has happened now is that unless I have them both plugged in, I go to the print menu. Unless I print the 5L, the 4100 won't print.
Did you install 5L drivers?
I went to whatever the the add a printer menu is.
That may have overridden the newer 4100 drivers. So you may have to reinstall the 4100 drivers to get the newest drivers that should work with both.
Right, because the 5L is an older machine.
Right.
And the drivers are out of date and old. So if you did install the drivers on top of the working drivers, then that's a problem. So the thing to do is to reinstall the drivers for the 4100, as Steve said.
Okay, and keep the 5L in there?
And that should include the 5L. The big difference between the two is some of the additional features that newer printers like the 4100 have.
Okay.
And it's probably the DLLs for the 5L don't have things the 4100 needs.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Okay, so you install the newest machine's drivers last.
Right.
Okay.
Well, theoretically, you won't need to install the 5L drivers at all.
Yeah, you shouldn't need them again.
Because the 4100 drivers should include the basic stuff that the 5L does.
Okay.
And oftentimes when you're plugging in a printer like that, you'll get a message that asks if you want to use the existing drivers
Or updated.
or updated drivers, and typically you would when you're putting that older printer in, you would use the existing ones you already have for the newer printer.
Right.
Okay. But I'll still get them. I still get the choice of using either printer. It'll come up on.
You should, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
All right.
You've got. Speaking of anniversaries, you all have one coming up in about a month.
Yep. September 3rd is our anniversary.
Yeah. So congratulations and thank you for all the great work you've been doing.
31
Thank
years.
you. That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Yeah, the drivers are still a huge issue.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem with my Linux machine, but Linux does drivers very differently.
Yeah.
And it may well be that, as you said, because they tend to reuse the same names for all their DLLs. If you overwrite the working DLLs with an older DLL,
Yep.
you lose it.
All right.
I have.
Go ahead.
I have also started seeing a lot of printers are using generic, not really generic drivers, but a full feature driver, especially in the Apple world. You load a printer in and it puts in the AirPrint driver that most printers have now to talk to iOS devices, and then the Google Print driver to talk to Android devices. And that was always the big thing about printing from your phone is no way to install drivers for thousands of printers.
Right.
So Apple and Google created these standalone driver formats that printer companies make. So now that AirPrint driver works with any printer, and
Right.
you don't need to load specific drivers.
Right.
The printer tells AirPrint, oh, I've got these many trays, I've got this capabilities, and it knows.
Right.
All right, before we go to Carl, we've got somebody that wrote in 2 questions here. And let's go with the first one. It says, number 1, can your IP get corrupted? I had what I think was a bogus support call to me when I reached out by accident when I was having trouble trying to resolve a problem with my Garmin GPS navigation device. Duh. I didn't know about the problem that Garmin was having at the time. I managed to successfully escape the bogus tech, but I wonder about what she said. It suspects it is not true. My understanding is that my IP address is just my location on the internet, similar to my street address for my home. And then the second question is, can you recommend an easy to use password manager? He's got 1Password now.
Okay, let's take these one at a time.
Yep.
First, yes, your IP address is basically your address, your street address. So if your address is 129.21.3.17, that's a server at RIT. RIT knows that. They know what that address is. They know how to get to it. And anybody who wants to get to it is given that address so they can get to it. That's all an IP address actually does. It gives you an identity on the network.
And generally, that address is assigned by your internet service provider.
Right.
Right. If you're at home, it's essentially assigned to your router,
Right.
and then your router assigns an internal address to your machine.
Yep. There's two separate ones.
Right. So
What's
you have
intranet versus internet.
right
Or
exactly.
WAN and LAN, some systems call it.
Yep.
Right. The WAN is the wide area network outside your router, your ISP's router, like your modem, whatever you call it. And the LAN is your local area network, which is inside your house.
And sometimes the IP addresses can get corrupted. The same IP can be assigned to two machines. And the usual fix is turn everything off, wait 20 minutes,
Restart
and
it.
turn it back on.
Yep.
Right. And also, you should know that often your your WAN address can change, because sometimes when they're renewed, you get a different address
Yep.
out of a pool that the internet service provider has.
And because they want to charge you extra for a static address.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then the second question, which is an easy-to-use password manager, I use NPass,
Same here.
ENPASS, ENPASS, which I find super easy to use. And
It is so easy.
yeah, and
My boss uses 1Password and really likes it.
1Password is very nice. One of the things that I like about most of these, and NPass is one of them, I think 1Pass is as well, you can save your password database up on the web so that it's on every one of your devices. So I have exactly the same database of passwords on my phone, on my tablet, on my Chromebook, on my laptop, on my desktop. So if I make a change on any one of them, it propagates to all of them, so I never am out of date on anything.
Although some of the services charge extra for that option because you're storing it on their server.
Right. NPass allows you to store it in Dropbox, in Google Drive, and a half a dozen other places. So on iCloud. So it's there's all kinds of places you can put
Oh,
it.
I had an issue with one of these credit cards that I had from the. Well, that's a whole different story. But anyways, they were questioning me. Well, how good is your password? I go, well, for that one, it was 67 characters long. He goes, well, that wouldn't have been an issue. I go, no, I know it's not. You guys got hacked. So, it's not at my end. It's at your end.
Right.
And they go, yeah, we've been hearing this and we looking into it further. I said, okay, thank you.
Right.
And they're just sending me a different card.
One time my credit card got stolen, hacked, whatever, was at a restaurant when the server walked away with it for 20 minutes to take it up to the front desk. And I really hate that now, and I try not to do that and pay at the register. A lot of restaurants are now bringing the payment terminal around to the table.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that.
What I like, I generally don't use my phone to pay for things. But what I like is I was out to dinner with a friend who said, they said, give me your card. And he said, no, it's on my phone. And the person said, well, give me your phone. No,
Yep, I've had that.
you don't get my phone.
I've had to tell people at restaurants, yes, you support Apple Pay. You see that logo on your reader?
Yeah, right. So you bring the reader to me,
Yeah.
and I'll tap my phone.
Or
Yeah.
I'll go up to the cash
Or
register
I'll
on
go
my
up to
way.
the cash register with you. Yeah, exactly. All right, we've had we got about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We can at least get the question.
Yeah.
Carl from Pottstown, PA. Hiya, Carl. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No problem. How's it going?
Good. What do you got?
Got a question for you. Maybe you could explain something to me.
Sure.
I probably should know this, but for a long time now, whenever I've logged into websites that require a login screen, I would put in my username and my password, and everything was fine. But it seems like I always get the option, in addition to signing in with my username and password, to click on things that say sign in with Facebook, sign in with Google, sign in with Apple, or use your username and password. And I never understood any of that stuff. How do you sign in with these other services?
Well, they work pretty much the same way that everything else does. What you do is if you say sign in with Google or Apple or Facebook, it actually then asks for that username and password if you're not already saved as one of their expected logins.
It's a way to help you manage your accounts by not having to create 100 different accounts for every different website you log into.
Right.
The one thing.
The theory is that Google or Facebook or Apple has already verified you as you, and the other website is just taking that verification.
Although using Facebook login is often very dangerous because then Facebook gets your information. One thing that I really like about the new Apple sign-in is they don't even give the other end your real email address. They'll make up a fake email address, and then if they ever get a message for that address, they forward it to your real address.
Right.
So it helps if there's a breach at the other end, your real email address hasn't been exposed.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's a good thing.
But yeah, it's a convenience for the end user to not have to make hundreds of accounts on every different website they go to.
Okay, and just one other question. You mentioned that you had a newsletter, and I think I've heard you mention that before, and I keep putting it off. But how do I sign up for your newsletter?
AskNick.com.
He is asking Nick.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry. Isn't that meta? Go to asknick.com and you'll see the subscription button right there.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick, Francesco, and you. It is 30 minutes after the hour. We are Soundbites. This is member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Computer talk you can understand. More Soundbites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
As a Jazz 90.1 listener, you have the ability to leave a lasting gift to the jazz community. By making a planned gift, you can support Jazz 90.1 for many years to come. For more information, contact your financial advisor or call 585-966-2660. You can also find out more about planned giving by visiting www.jazz901.org.
On the next Jazz Night in America, we're in Rhode Island for an unforgettable lineup of music from the Newport Jazz Festival through the years, handpicked and hosted by me, Christian McBride. Tune in to check out rare sets from Clifford Brown with Max Roach, Dave Brubeck, and Horace Silver. That's next time on Jazz Night in America.
If you like music, I have it for you. Jazz, blues, R&B, soul, and Latin. Hi, I'm Paul Conley, also known as The Doctor. Join me on Jazz Overnight right after the Spectrum every Monday morning from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. on your member-supported radio station, Jazz 90.1 and jazz901.org.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver number 2, Discount Tire Ford Mustang. If there's one thing I've learned after years on the track, it's that having the right amount of pressure in your tires can make or break performance. Properly inflated tires are essential to the health of your car and to keep you driving safely. Check your tire pressure once a month, especially before road trips, or stop by your neighborhood tire retailer for help.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Contributions over the years made through our pledge drives have brought great programming to our listeners. Creating a legacy gift to benefit Jazz 90.1 builds a bridge from one generation of public radio listeners to the next. Please remember Jazz 90.1 in your will, trust, or general estate plans, and join our Jazz 90.1 Legacy Society. You can also find out more by visiting www.jazz901.org.
Many employees unable to work because of COVID-19 related reasons may be able to take up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave and up to 10 more weeks of paid leave to care for their children whose schools or places of care have closed or whose daycare providers are unavailable. To find out if you qualify, visit dol.gov/FFCRA or call a trained professional at 866-4US-WAGE. This message is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Here's what people are saying about Jazz 90.1.
I'm really enjoying your program tonight. Thank you so much for playing live jazz on the radio.
I'm an old jitterbug lady, now 83, who still enjoys all that great music.
I want to thank you for supporting local talent. What you do is great, man. I really think you got a good station. I am so glad that progressive radio is still alive. Progressive radio lives, and God bless you.
Hi, I'm ecstatic that Bytes found a new home on jazz. I thank you, and I love you guys.
Hi, I'm listening to your station tonight, and it's absolutely fantastic. The string of songs you're playing are absolutely great.
I enjoy all of your hosts.
Enjoy your station a great deal. It's really cool.
And I think your jazz station is one of the best I've ever heard. It's really great.
I finally found a station, and I like their music, and I hope you never go out of business.
This is station manager Rob Linton. Thank you to all of our members and listeners for supporting great jazz radio. Jazz 90.1.
What happens when love and touch meet? This is Sandra Tsinglow with the Lowdown on Science. Love isn't always about words. We say a lot in the way we touch and hold loved ones. These physical contacts release feel-good brain chemicals like oxytocin. But do those brain responses depend on who touches you? Anne-Katrine Kreude and colleagues at the University of Bonn in Germany explored this idea. Around 100 couples participated. One partner inhaled either oxytocin or a placebo. Then, while in an MRI machine, volunteers were told that either their partner or a stranger would touch their calves. In fact, it was a researcher who touched them while shielded from view. Researchers measured activity in different brain areas while volunteers were being touched. Findings: participants who received oxytocin and thought their partners stroked them felt more pleasant. Certain brain circuits for touch activated more if participants thought their partners touched them. Those given the placebo were indifferent about whether they were touched by a loved one or a stranger. The researchers think that oxytocin may make a partner's touch feel more rewarding and a stranger's touch less so. So give touch a try. You'll have more warm and fuzzy relationships fueled by oxytocin.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation.
Your smartphone just got a bit smarter. Text your computer questions now on our new text line. Text 205-8887. That's 205-8887.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
We continue to enjoy some of the nicest weather imaginable for this time of year. Nice way to kick off the new month of August, this after one of the warmest Julys in Rochester weather history. We'll see ample sunshine today from hilltop to lakeshore. It'll be a little bit warmer than yesterday, the high temperature in the middle 80s. Look for increasing clouds tonight, a shower overnight, the low in the middle and upper 60s, showers and scattered thunderstorms in store for Sunday, the high near 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got 82 degrees out at the airport and a balmy 86 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Phil Dodd. Please join me weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
He's got to do something about that music.
And it's 37 minutes after the hour. We are Soundbites, and we have Al from Rochester, New York on the line. Hi, Al. What's up?
Hey, guys. Good to hear you again.
Good to talk to you.
So I've got kind of it's a difficult problem. I've been digging around, and after months, I have not been able to solve it. So I'm going to throw it onto your collective wisdom.
So you're going to give us 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah. What I couldn't figure out in 3 months.
Right.
So here's the deal. I religiously do lots of backups, and I've discovered that, I have a Drobo network-attached server for storage. And I've discovered that whether
I'm just doing a simple Windows copy from directory to directory, or using a sync tool, or using my backup software to actually create the backup files. Anytime I'm sending across anything of size, a couple of gigabytes to a terabyte, all of a sudden I'll lose the connection. Windows seems to be forgetting the share that I've created from my PC, desktop PC, over to my NAS. And I can't find any reference on the net about anyone else having this particular problem.
Okay? So you've do you know what the lowest size limit is that causes this?
No, I would guess a couple hundred meg is about the lowest size. Anything smaller than that tends to go, and it's not consistent. It's erratic. Sometimes I'll run the backup software, on a schedule, and I'll come along and it backed up 40 gigabyte backup file, no problem. Or most of the time it'll fail within the first couple minutes.
You said this was a Drobo?
Drobo, yeah.
Have you checked the Drobo dashboard to see if there's any messages about it, or maybe even a firmware update?
No, I'm current on everything, and I don't think it's the Drobo.
I'm thinking it's your router.
Well, I've tried connecting the Drobo directly to the PC. So I eliminated that, and I've changed cables. So,
okay.
Like I say, it's weird. It'll go burning along. If I go through the router, it's 11 megasecond. If I go direct connect, I can get up to about 100 megasecond. And it'll churn right along, and all of a sudden I'll notice the traffic just has stopped. And after a couple of minutes, Windows basically, I assume, times out and gives you a message saying there's a network error. Can't see the share anymore.
And what do you do to reconnect to the share?
Sometimes I can run the Drobo utility to reconnect the share. Other times it's just better to reboot the Windows, my desktop, and start over again. I don't have to reboot the Drobo.
Something in the TCP stack?
I'm thinking it's one of a couple of things, but the next question I have is, have you tried it from a different machine, and does it have the same problem?
Great question.
Thank you.
I don't have anything of that same size. I've just got a 1 terabyte notebook. But I would say no, it does not happen. But I couldn't swear to that.
Okay.
That's a good thing to test.
So yeah, well, you should test that. That will tell you whether the problem is in the TCP stack, as Steve said, or perhaps the hardware.
Yeah.
In the
machine
laptop itself, or if it's in the Drobo. Because if it happens on two different machines, then it's in the Drobo.
Yeah.
But if it only happens on one of them, then the problem is that machine. And it could be, it's Windows, and how fast is the Windows machine, and how much RAM?
It's an i9 core, 64 gig of RAM.
Okay.
Well, there's your problem. It's got too much.
Yeah. Too much, yeah. Can you run it on an old Atari?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably have an old Atari if I'd look for it.
I think you probably do. So it could be the stack. It could be something in the background that's trying also to do something at the same time and causing an issue.
Yeah.
And that also could be a problem with a poorly written stack.
Okay. See, but the thing that gets me is the intermittency of it. It's like every 6 months I'll do a full back of everything.
Right.
So that's in the order of about 12 terabytes.
Right.
And I'll let it run overnight, just processing and crunching for a couple days. 24 hours a day for a couple days. And generally that has worked pretty well. It's now when I'm doing incrementals, it's cropped up.
Okay, so here's another question.
Yeah.
Because you're running this over an Ethernet cable.
Yeah.
Which is an antenna. What else is causing any sort of RFI during the time you're making your backup?
Okay, another good one.
Somebody microwaves their coffee in the next apartment.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I'm in the basement, so it's just me, myself, and I. but I've got a couple external USBs, the NAS. I've got a APC backup, battery backup, and printers, a couple printers.
Right. Well, one of the things I might suggest doing is checking the route that your cable takes, because I know a lot of people stick them in the ceiling, which means they're near the balun for fluorescent lights, which can be bad.
Okay.
So if your cables
there, or even power lines
in the walls, it could be a million things. Try stringing a separate cable.
But I don't think it's that, only from the standpoint that he said he hooked it directly up to the PC and it was still having the same issue.
Well, but if he has that same routed cable and he just unplugged the ends and stuck them in the computer, they're still routing through it past the balun.
Could be, yeah.
So yeah, those are the next things to check. This is going to be an interesting thing. I hope you'll let us follow along with you on it.
Oh, I'll definitely come back if I find the solution. And like you say, the puzzle to me is that querying various sites on the network, on the internet, I'm not seeing anyone having that kind of a problem, which is...
Right.
I'd like to think I'm a unique individual, but not in that case.
Yeah, being unique when it's a computer problem is bad.
Yeah.
I've found several places that are reporting similar issues with different model Drobos, and most of them are pointing to the Ethernet cable. You've got a marginal Ethernet cable.
Okay.
So maybe you replace your Cat 5 with a Cat 6.
6.
That doesn't make it much faster, but it does.
Well, the other one
shielding.
too is you can get the what they call shielded. Yeah, it's for like outdoor use and that. It's got a little more protection as far as fighting off RF on the Cat 5. It's Cat 5 for outdoors.
Oh, okay. Hey, right now, if somebody said I've got a $100 solution, I'd say, can I buy 2?
Yeah, right. No, I get it. It's very frustrating, particularly when it's intermittent.
It's a headbanger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. You give me some ideas I hadn't explored, but I will definitely...
Let us know how you make out.
I will do that.
All right. Take care.
Guys, take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's the worst. When it's intermittent, it's the worst.
Yep. Hey, we got somebody else that texted in before we go back to the phones. It says, this is from Bob, and he's saying, I'm running Windows 10 home. Recently, I've been experiencing blue screen reboots about every 2 to 3 days. I allow auto Windows 10 update. Is there a known problem with the recent update that would be causing this?
Yes. Thank you for asking. Next.
Yeah.
Yes, there have been any number of issues.
Every update.
Every update has been causing problems. Not to everybody. It's that same, as we were saying with Al, it's the intermittent ones that make you the craziest. And one of the problems that Windows 10 has is that the interaction between other software that Microsoft didn't test against or other hardware that Microsoft didn't test against is causing issues. So you may have had the good fortune to run into one of those problems. So yes, you may find that if you can still roll back to a previous version, you may, uninstall the updates essentially. You may find that fixes your problem, and just wait for the patch to the patch to the patch of the latest patches. And unfortunately, that's the best we can tell you at this point, because when you're running Windows, it's a crapshoot, and Mama needs new shoes.
Yeah, I'm seeing reports that the March update, KB4540673, causes the problem. The June update had the BSOD. The May update had the BSOD problems.
Yep. So BSOD, blue screen of death.
Blue screen of death.
So yeah, I'm afraid, Bob, that at best you can roll back. Sorry. All right, back to the phone.
It makes you not want to run the updates.
Well, right.
But you need the fixes and security patches, but you don't want them to break something else. So
brick it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, our next caller is Doug from Rochester, New York. Hiya, Doug. What's up?
Oh, let's see. A while back, I switched over from Windows 7 to Ubuntu, and I ran out of things to worry about because it's so amazing. But I'm reading articles from ZDNet saying, there is some malware on Linux, and I'm wondering if it's worth my effort to install some kind of a detector. Anything you recommend, or never mind?
No, you absolutely. There is no operating system that is free of malware, and there is no operating system that should be free of an antivirus package. I personally use ClamScan.
Okay.
Clam AV basically is the product name, and it's free. It's if you're running Ubuntu, it's available as part of your package. So you should just be able to install Clam and get it. And there's several parts of that. There's Clam AV, which is the actual antivirus program, and there's Fresh Clam, which is the updater for that stuff.
Gotcha.
You can also see the Security Tango at securitytango.com has a section on Linux. And talks about several programs, including Sophos and a couple of others, and how to install for your various distributions and et cetera, et cetera. So, I would read through that before installing anything, but definitely get some stuff installed, and it'll talk about cleaning your system and using a firewall and checking for rootkits and automating all that stuff. So. You should be, and how to check your logs so you know that things are working correctly.
And a lot of it starts with just user awareness.
Right.
Don't click on strange links. Don't believe pop-up messages saying you need to do this. Don't believe emails. Don't believe tweets that say some famous person is going to double your money if you send a Bitcoin address.
Right.
I don't even believe you guys.
That's the smartest thing you've said today.
Yep.
One last question then about ClamScan. Will it play well with one partition left on my drive for Windows 10? It's a dual boot system. It's rarely used, but does it look at that, complain, or
I honestly don't know that off the top of my head. There is certainly a version of Clam for Windows.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be running something. It doesn't have to be Clam. It could be any one of 1,000 programs for the Windows side. You should definitely be running something there, and keeping them separate is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, good. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I don't have a Windows partition, so I've never really paid attention to whether or not that'll work.
All right, we have another question that came in. Is it possible to change from Parallels to VirtualBox and keep a copy of Windows XP intact?
I have seen in Parallels, at least. No, actually, I've Parallels and Fusion I look at more on how that you can convert a VM from one program to another.
Hello?
So possibly.
It looks like this is Parallels to what? VirtualBox?
VirtualBox, yeah. I just found a how-to from 2017 saying how to do it.
Yeah, I just found the same one.
Yeah.
And that's Parallels 15 from 2019. I found one. So I just looked up convert VM from Parallels to VirtualBox in Google, and you'll find.
And the trick is to use a VMware virtual machine converter from yet another virtual machine company.
Yeah, right. But it is doable. There are virtual machine converters, and I guess that's the easiest way to do it. But yeah, it is certainly doable. I don't know if those converters are free.
Yeah, let me click the link and see what it says it wants.
But XP should just be installable. There's no...
Yeah, but you want to avoid all that installing and
verification.
It's easier if you can just convert.
Yeah. So if you can convert it, that's easiest. Yeah, I agree. Okay. We got plenty of
Convert
time.
Center. It's letting me... Yeah, you have to log into a VMware account to download it, but you can create an account for free. I don't see a price listed on the VM converter.
Steve will post a link, and you can check it out there. And then we'll go to Sarah from Penfield, New York. Hi, Sarah. What's up?
Yes, I'm unfortunately running Windows 10, and
we're sorry.
Yeah, me too. But I play online games with people in different parts of the country, and the games aren't available on other machines.
Right.
And I'm disabled, so this is most of my world.
Sure.
Problem I'm having is that Windows 10 will save private information like my credit card numbers and login information, even though I tell it not to when I go to these sites. The next time I go someplace, it automatically pops them up.
What browser are you using?
I'm using both the natural one and Google.
Okay, so the natural one I'm thinking is Edge?
Edge, yes.
Yeah, okay. In both of those, see, there's 3 places your stuff can be saved.
Yeah.
Windows itself and each of your browsers. So you would... Right.
So it may not be Windows that's remembering your information. It could be the browser.
Yep.
Right. So in Edge, you would need to go into settings, and then more settings, and then passwords, and turn off offer to save passwords.
Okay.
And that's how that would work there. And similarly in Chrome, hello, I'm in Chrome. Why don't I just look? Jeez, crackers.
Duh.
Yeah, settings, and then under privacy and security, you can change site settings and all that other stuff in there. Scroll down to find some things.
And there should be one called passwords.
There's
and
one called passwords.
An option to turn off save passwords.
Right.
Okay.
So once you do that, once you turn off the saved passwords, they should go away.
Yep.
And it won't remember them afterwards.
It may still remember the ones that's already saved. So you may have to might have to clear the saved passwords that are already there.
Right.
Yep.
And again, in both of those, you do that through those menus, those setting menus.
Okay.
Yeah, you can anything you use to connect to the internet could save your password. So if you ever use Firefox, you'll want to do the same thing in that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest reason I'm upset about this is that I don't know if you remember Kaspersky antivirus software.
Oh yeah.
I used that 4 years ago, and every year they've got my information to renew it.
Yep.
And they have to tell them no and go to the bank and block them. And the information has changed, so they're getting it off my computer, even though I'm not using it.
Right. Right.
So
if I were you, I would definitely dance the security tango. I would definitely run a program called Revo Uninstaller, REVO Uninstaller, and have it search for Kaspersky.
You may also want to log back into your Kaspersky web account with them and make sure auto renewal is turned off.
I've done that, and they do it anyway.
Wow. So yeah, I would definitely run Revo and make sure there's nothing from Kaspersky still running in the background.
Okay. Yeah, because the machine, since I used Kaspersky, I've had to rebuild the entire machine, and they're still getting the information. I don't know how they're doing it, but
That's
they're doing
nuts.
Well, they're not getting it from your machine then.
Yeah, they're not getting it from your machine.
Yeah, I don't know how, because the bank account has changed and my credit card has changed, and I don't have it on this machine, at least I know of, because I had to replace the hard drives and rebuild the machine.
Okay, it's probably pretty clean then.
Yeah.
There was a problem. What's the date on this? 2011. There was a company called Personal PC Care that was putting out a fake Kaspersky with auto renewal. So they said that they were going to renew your Kaspersky subscription, but they were just stealing your money.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So there are cases where
bogus places,
bogus Kaspersky. That's tough to say.
Yeah. Because I couldn't figure out how they were even getting the information, because I haven't installed it since the machine went down,
That's why I'm thinking it's in your account with them.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's been they say Kaspersky has said that they don't do that anymore, but
Well, yeah, but if you have auto renewal turned on in your account with them,
Right.
they'll keep doing it.
Right.
Mhm.
So you have to log into your account on their website.
But if she's changed the account, how are they getting a new account number?
that's a little freaky.
Yeah, because it would have to be approved. Okay, go ahead and use this new credit card, not the old one. You usually have to grant permission. If she didn't grant permission, there's something
I've read
awry
stories
there.
about banks that issue a new credit card, and then for your convenience, auto payments to the old credit card, they'll just automatically forward to the new credit card,
Right.
even though that was the fraudulent reason you got a new credit card in the first place.
Right. And I've said this before, but man, I had to, in order to stop paying AOL after years, I just canceled my credit card.
There are classic stories and people who've recorded phone conversations. One guy just saying every cancel my account, cancel my account, cancel my account. For 20 minutes, the person tried to get them to renew. How about I give you 6 months free? Cancel my account, cancel my account, cancel my account.
Right. But they've got a script they got to read.
Yep.
Because they're going to get dinged on it if they don't. All right, we're done for this hour, but don't go away because you either lucky or sad, pathetic people. There's a whole nother hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, coming your way at the other side of this break. It's a slightly longer break, so take that quick bio break, and yes, this time I will too. I actually got somebody who dinged me on the fact that last week I said, take a bio break, I will too, and then I didn't. You people need to get out more. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick, Francesco, and you. That's right. I could have a motorman's friend. That's what he asked me. It is top of the hour, and we'll be back in just a few minutes on Sound Bytes.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester.
A public service of the Greece Central School District.
Jazz 90.1.
On Instagram at WGMC Jazz 901.
Hurricane Isaias is approaching Nassau in the Bahamas as a Category 1 storm. Meteorologist Allison Chinchar says the next stop is the U.S.
The real concern going forward is how close does it truly get to the Florida coastline? We're already starting to see some of those outer bands from Hurricane Isaias push into Cuba and Florida. Sustained winds are still about 85 miles per hour, but it is expected to slow a little bit as it does approach Florida.
Florida is dealing with a spike in COVID-19 along with other states that have become hotspots. Correspondent Paula Sandoval.
The coronavirus may kill another 20,000 Americans by late August, according to a sobering fresh forecast from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC projections warn of an increase in reported deaths in Puerto Rico, Washington State, Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee, and New Jersey.
The U.S. COVID-19 death toll has topped 153,000. I'm Ann Cates.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
from beautiful blooms to vegetables and everything in between. Join me, Melinda Myers, and listen to Melinda's Garden Moments to find out how you can become an expert gardener right in your own backyard.
Thursdays at 1:40 p.m. and Sundays at 11:40 a.m. Only on members-supported Jazz 90.1.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Many employees unable to work because of COVID-19 related reasons may be able to take up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave and up to 10 more weeks of paid leave to care for their children whose schools or places of care have closed or whose daycare providers are unavailable. To find out if you qualify, visit dol.gov/FFCRA or call a trained professional at 866-4US-WAGE. This message is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. As a parent, it can be scary to hand the car keys to your teenager. To help your teen stay safe, be a good role model and follow traffic laws yourself. Set rules for your teen, including wearing a seatbelt, driving only during the day, and with limited distractions, including from their passengers. Finally, make sure your teen knows it is never okay to text and drive. For a sample driving agreement for teens, visit healthychildren.org.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver number 2, Discount Tire Ford Mustang. If there's one thing I've learned after years on the track, it's that having the right amount of pressure in your tires can make or break performance. Properly inflated tires are essential to the health of your car and to keep you driving safely. Check your tire pressure once a month, especially before road trips, or stop by your neighborhood tire retailer for help.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Jazz 90.1, streaming online worldwide at jazz901.org.
If you've had the coronavirus, you've got a lot of fight in you.
And you're in a special position to help us fight back.
The plasma in your blood can literally save lives.
But we need to act fast.
Please donate plasma now. Please donate.
Donate. Donate.
Donate now.
You fought for your life. Now, let's take the fight to COVID-19. Go to thefightisininus.org to find out how to donate.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads.
It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Got a computer question? Text your question to the guys now on our new text line, 205-8887. That's 205-8887.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 6 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes, and somehow I turned on automatic text to voice typing on this whole.
So is typing what you were saying?
Yeah. Interesting way to do a transcript of a show if you can hear everybody, but can't really because right now my computer would not be able to hear anything after I say our next caller is Doug from Holly, New York. Hi, Doug. What's up?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well.
We're doing well. How are you?
Oh, not bad. We have a second Doug with a second question about Ubuntu.
Okay.
I have an older iMac, and I'm trying to get a little more life out of it. And so I installed Ubuntu.
Nice.
So it seemed to be working okay. What I primarily want to use the iMac for is to have the children watch Netflix and Hulu on it. Okay, so Firefox, when I try to log in to Netflix, I get pardon the interruption, there's an error code. So I haven't been able to figure out, did some research, and it seems like Chrome would be a better option for the browser.
Much better, because Chrome is made by Google, and they have made sure that it works with Netflix and with Hulu.
Okay, so
I have used it with Netflix. I have not yet used it with Hulu, but I'm told it works.
Okay, so that was the research that I discovered also. But what I'm having is the next problem is when I download Google and try to install it on Ubuntu, I get messages saying, and it looks like the file downloaded, because when I go to the download folder and right-click on permissions and stuff, I see a file of about 70 megabytes. When I try to install it, it comes up with an error saying, sorry, something went wrong, error, opening directory, and then there's /users, /share, app data, no such file or directory.
Okay, well, first, Chrome should only be about 30 megabytes. If you've got something that's 70, I'm not sure what you downloaded.
Chrome, Google Chrome stable, current, AMD 64.db.
Okay, again, if you're using Ubuntu, you should be able to install Chrome.
69.6 megs.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I followed interweb directions on how to download it, and also it said something about don't let the. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not familiar. You're really familiar. I've been a Mac user all my life, so I'm not familiar with the Ubuntu OS. But it directed me to save the file and not have a manager try to open it. So I did that. And then double-click on the file, and I run into this error that I described. It says that it kind of goes through an installing message, and when it gets done with that, I get that message saying, sorry, something went wrong. Is it like a permissions thing on the OS?
Yeah, what you probably should do is you see the file on your desktop, right, that ends in dot, not on your desktop, but you can find the file in the downloads folder that ends in .deb.
Yes.
Okay. So what you have to type is sudo, sudo, space, apt, space, apt, space, install, with 2 L's, space, and then that file name.
Okay, so we're talking terminal here.
At the terminal. And what it will then do is ask you for your password.
Okay.
And that's the password that you set when you installed Ubuntu.
Okay, so there's no GUI way of doing this?
Well, there is. You can do it through the software installer.
Can you just double-click the file?
Or no, because double-clicking the file does it without sudo.
So that's the problem, is you got to be the super user.
You got to be a super user. So you can install stuff using software installer, which is in the menus, and you will find a version of the Chrome OS in there. But depending on which version of Ubuntu you're using, it may not be the latest one.
It's
if you're in Ubuntu 20, Ubuntu
20.4 or something like that.
Yeah. So it should be the latest one. So you can do it through the software installers, and it's got a slightly different name.
Is there a right click and run as administrator?
There might be. I don't remember 20 at this point. I haven't used it. Well, it should be. Should be able to right click on the file name. If you open it up in a window and right click on the file name, you should be able to see run as administrator. And again, it will ask you for your password. It's the Ubuntu Software Center, and that should be in your menu, that top left menu.
Okay.
It should be under there.
There isn't an open administrator in Ubuntu 20, but there's a terminal command to add it.
Oh, that's nice.
And I will post that.
Okay. I'm still running 18 long-term.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so you should be able to either install it by doing the sudo from the command line or using the Ubuntu Software Center, because when you go to run it, it will also ask you for your password and run as the super user.
Okay. I may have tried that already. I'm really weary of terminal. I've just been a graphic user interface all my life.
Sure.
So I'm going to throw Steve a softball here. Before I installed Ubuntu on the iMac, it's about 2.4 processor, and I actually was able to run Netflix on that OS, the Mac OS. So my question to you guys is, if I get frustrated with this Ubuntu, can I go and do a net boot and reinstall the Mac OS on it?
Sort of. If you do the internet boot, you're going to get Catalina, the latest OS, which may be too much for that computer.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, well,
there are other keyboard commands. I'll post a link to load the original OS.
Okay.
Which would then be too old, and then you'd have to go through upgrades.
Right.
I think it was running like 10 or 10.11. I don't.
Yeah, and so you could load that original OS, which may be too old to run Netflix.
Right.
The browser in it would be too old. But then you would need to update to a newer but not the newest OS.
Right.
I have a disk full of all the old installers because I run into this a lot.
Well, the other thing you might want to check is how much empty space you have on that drive
and how much RAM is in the computer.
Right.
Okay. As far as which OS?
Any whatever you're running now, the Ubuntu OS. Because what I'm thinking is it may not be able to complete the install because there isn't enough disk space.
Oh no, it's empty. I mean, this was brand new install. I did an erase on the hard drive so that I'd have all the room I needed on it, and
all right.
It's got 6 gig of RAM in it.
Yeah, okay. Then you should be fine. But the thing to try is that Ubuntu Software Center, or just Software Center.
Okay.
And that should be in your system somewhere in the menus. There might be an icon right on the dock, or in the search bar, the activities. You pull down the menu. There's a search bar. Just type software, and then when Ubuntu software launches, you can search for Chrome and just install it.
Okay. All right, I'll give these things a try.
And then you never have to go near the command line.
Okay. Hey.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's in the long run, you will be much better off at some point learning the command line stuff, because it's so easy to do things there and so fast. But you don't have to. There's no. It used to be yes. It used to be if you actually wanted to use Linux in any configuration in any distribution to its fullest, you really needed to learn the command line.
Yeah.
But nowadays you do not. You can run the entire thing forever from the GUI interface, the graphical interface, and be just as inefficient as your Windows and Mac friends. Of course, Mac can also. All three of them can run stuff from the terminal, but most people don't use them.
In fact, we just switched from the Bash shell to the Z shell, and Things are strange.
Yeah, they would be. Yes. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Chris from Gates, New York. What's up, Chris?
Yeah, hi guys. I have an old iPhone 5. It's got 16 gigabytes. I'd like to add a couple of new playlists to it. I don't use it other than, just kind of have playlists on it. I do have some apps. There's an old, like, Bejeweled that I like to play on it and some photos. So it shows up here on my iMac, but I don't know how to get a new playlist on it. Do I sync music? But then when I hit the sync music thing, it says, "Are you sure you want to remove existing movies?"
Right. You can either sync everything on your computer, or you can manage it all directly on the phone. You have to pick one or the other.
But
So
how do I? Okay, go ahead. Tell me how to do it.
so you create your playlists in iTunes on the computer, and then you sync that to the phone, and it erases all the media on the phone and syncs it from your computer. Or on your phone, you make a new playlist in the music app and add the songs you want to it that are already on the phone.
No, I have all my music in iTunes, so I did make a playlist. But when I made the playlist, there was no way for me to copy that and put it into I didn't know how to get it to the iPhone.
You click the sync music button, which then erases all the media on the phone and syncs it from your computer.
There's no third way of just moving all of the new songs over and the new playlist?
No, it's sync it automatically or manually manage it.
So my problem is if I sync it, then I'm going to lose all my other stuff, my old playlists and my old photos and my old apps.
So if you already have stuff on your phone, then you manage it on your phone.
Okay, so wait, let me ask another question. Is this your only iPhone?
No, it's my old iPhone 5, and I just use it like for music, and playlists and when I'm walking and that kind of stuff.
And where did the music come from that's on that phone now?
iTunes.
From the computer you're using?
Well, I didn't have the iMac at the time, but yes, it was in my iTunes library.
That's the problem. It's a different computer.
Yes.
According to the licensing from the RIAA, you cannot sync your phone to more than one computer.
So that's why I'm having trouble.
Yeah, so it's nothing to do with making playlists. It's that you're trying to sync your music from a different computer, so it has to erase everything from the other computer to sync it to this computer, because you're only licensed on this computer.
So when I'm removing existing music, TV show, books, that's okay, but it's not going to remove my photos or my apps?
Only if you tell it to.
Well, in this question, it says syncing music. Are you sure you want to remove existing music, movies, TV shows, and books?
Right. And so in the Photos tab is where you tell it to sync your photos, and in the Books tab is where you tell it to sync your books. So make sure those are all set to not sync.
Yep, they were. Okay. And so then that's going to allow me to put the playlist on that I want.
Right. It will erase all the music on the phone and copy it from the computer now.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. That's exactly what I needed to know. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so you can't just...
That was a concession to the music industry so that I couldn't take my phone to your computer and copy all of your music.
Wow.
Because that would be illegal.
No, I get that, but it also prevents you from legally copying your own music.
From a second computer, yes. Only one computer at a time.
Right. That's one of the things I don't like about it. Okay. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Steve from Irondequoit, New York. Hi, Steve. What's up?
Hi, guys. Well, I have what I think is bad news. I'm thinking that my hard drive has gone bad. I just wanted to run through a little bit of what I did yesterday just to make sure there's nothing else I should be checking.
Right.
Okay, it's a Hewlett-Packard notebook. It's about 4 years old, Windows 10. Yesterday morning, the first thing I did was to transfer some files from a camera to an external hard drive, basically going in one USB and then out the other USB.
Sure.
That worked fine. Okay, at that point, I was ready to go online and do some stuff online. And so I tried to open up the usual browser that I use, and nothing happened. And I tried both clicking on the icon and also going through the start menu, which should be equivalent, but neither one of those worked. I did try clicking on Chrome, and Chrome loaded okay, and Firefox loaded okay at first, but those weren't the browsers that I wanted to use. At any rate, I went through, I think I tried shutting it off and rebooting and so forth, and I couldn't get it to come on. At some point, Firefox did load okay, but it took like a couple minutes before it loaded instead of coming up, pretty much right away. And then I spent the rest of the day doing Security Tango, and I, by the way, did not go online with that computer at all. The Wi-Fi was off. I have another computer that I was able to load everything on a USB drive and stick it into the questionable computer and to do the Security Tango. Well, it found, pretty much nothing other than advertising things. Okay, at any rate, so this morning I decided I would do it again because I had not been able to get it up into safe mode. I figured, okay, well, I'll repeat stuff in safe mode. And I decided, okay, I'll reboot the computer before I try to do that. Well, I tried rebooting it. It comes up with the HP logo, which I assume is not on the hard drive, and then you get the black screen.
Right.
And nothing more happens. So I'm thinking the hard drive is gone, and just wanted to make sure there wasn't something else I should try.
Well, that's
pretty
much it. You can certainly create, if this thing has a CD player, you can create a bootable CD using another operating system like Ubuntu. And one of the things it has in it is diagnostics tools to check another hard drive, or if not a CD-ROM, then a bootable USB drive. But beyond that, you're pretty much done.
What you one of the other things that you can get, since he has another computer, there may be about $15. You could pull the hard drive out of that laptop.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to do. You just literally
I've done it.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of the drive. The thing, you just flip it over, take out a few screws, and it'll pull out the hard drive. Now, what you could do is you could get an enclosure. They're about $15 that you could slip.
I think I got one of those from my last laptop.
All right. Well, what you could do is put it into that enclosure, hook it up through the USB to that other machine, and see if it even sees it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, on my previous Windows 7 laptop, I had actually put in a new drive, but this one, they seem to have changed things enough and made it harder to get at the hard drive. I wasn't sure I wanted to get into that.
Well, again, if you have any questions, the greatest thing to do is just go to YouTube and put in your model and say, the model of the laptop, replacing hard drive. And you'll be surprised the number of folks that have already done it, created a YouTube, and walk you through it step by step.
Okay.
There's also some commercial programs you could try. Spinrite has been known to work miracles on getting drives back, especially if you need the data on it.
Well, you'll be happy to know that I do have backup, both a...
Wonderful. You're the one.
Yeah. Okay. And actually, the online backup has just recently finished because I did finally get over to Greenlight.
Nice.
Back in last October, November, I saw an ad for some online place that was going to do online backup, and it was cheap enough that I figured I would try it. Well, I've got a 1 terabyte hard drive on it, and about 700 is about 700 gigabytes is what I needed to back up, and I was on DSL. And so I got going with that, and after a day or two, I said, okay, did a calculation and figured, all right, it's going to take me about 13 months to back up.
Yeah, it's about right.
One other trick, though, Steve, don't tell anybody else, but what you can do is if you get that hard drive out and you want to test it up, is it actually spinning up? Can you hear it spinning?
The flickering lights says that it's doing something, and I do occasionally hear it, although it does seem like I'm not hearing it as much as I was earlier today.
All right, here's one trick. And again, don't tell anybody else. What you do is you pull that hard drive out, you wrap it up into a towel, put it in the freezer for about an hour.
Ooh, okay.
You take it out of the freezer and then hook it right back on up to that little external device to read it, and see if you can spin it up to get it off the drive.
But make sure it's been wrapped in a towel.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because you don't want any moisture in that on it.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
But the chilling, believe it or not, gets into, and sometimes can get it spun up. I had, over the years, when I had my business going, a number of times I was able to pull that trick and get data off of a drive for a person.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, but that's not going to fix it indefinitely. That's
No. It's a temporary. It's just temporary.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to go with the backups. I think I've got.
Yep. Okay, yeah.
Everything. I did have one other question. Well, a couple others. I don't know how many people you got waiting to.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're gonna, we're coming up on a break.
Sure.
And if you don't mind just holding on for a little bit, we can go to the break and then we'll come back to you. How's that sound?
Great, thanks.
All right. All right. Yeah, that was one trick that I wound up doing a number of times, and believe it or not, the late Bill Peterson, his wife. Had a hard drive go, and her thesis was on it. Didn't have it backed up.
Oh, man.
I wound up doing that trick, and it saved her thesis.
Nice.
I was able to boot it up long enough to get it over to another drive and copied it onto a flash drive for her. But, yeah, she thought she was done for it. And, yeah, doing that little trick does it. But, yeah.
Nice. All right, we are going to take a quick break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick, Francesco, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That's right, it's Sound Bytes, right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that we can continue to be member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Before you call into our show, please make note of the following rules. 1, turn your radio down. 2, turn your radio down lower. 3, remember, nobody has invented a good-sounding speakerphone yet. Don't use them. 4, make sure you have a point. It makes for a more interesting show. 5, calling does not guarantee you'll get on the air. No whining. 6, if you do get on the air, please do not tell the host what you just told the screener. We don't care. And 7, is that radio turned down yet? We hope this will make for a more enjoyable program, and we thank you for your time.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
If you've had the coronavirus, you've got a lot of fight in you.
And you're in a special position to help us fight back.
The plasma in your blood can literally save lives.
But we need to act fast.
Please donate plasma now.
Please donate.
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 Donate now.
You fought for your life. Now, let's take the fight to COVID-19. Go to thefightisinuS.org to find out how to donate.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Now, you can explore Rochester and surrounding areas with a member card as your guide. When you make a gift of $90.10 or more, we'll send you a Jazz 90.1 member card. Then enjoy savings at hundreds of restaurants and attractions near you. So what are you waiting for? Call and become the newest member of Jazz 90.1 today. 966-5299 or online at jazz901.org.
It's where the groove survives and thrives. It's where you'll hear everyone from Gray Boy to Grant Green. Sly and the Family Stone to Jimmy Smith. Charles Erland to Charles Wright. It's the Soul Jazz Spectrum. Sunday nights at 9 on member-supported Jazz 90.1 and jazz901.org. Tune in or listen on the Jazz 90.1 Audio Vault or search for Soul Jazz Spectrum on Mixcloud.com. I'm Chuck Angersall, inviting you to join me for what it was, what it is, and what it will be.
The Soul Jazz Spectrum on Jazz 90.1.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver number 2, Discount Tire Ford Mustang. If there's one thing I've learned after years on the track, it's that having the right amount of pressure in your tires can make or break performance. Properly inflated tires are essential to the health of your car and to keep you driving safely. Check your tire pressure once a month, especially before road trips, or stop by your neighborhood tire retailer for help.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Many employees unable to work because of COVID-19 related reasons may be able to take up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave and up to 10 more weeks of paid leave to care for their children whose schools or places of care have closed or whose daycare providers are unavailable. To find out if you qualify, visit dol.gov/FFCRA or call a trained professional at 866-4US-WAGE. This message is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. As a parent, it can be scary to hand the car keys to your teenager. To help your teen stay safe, be a good role model and follow traffic laws yourself. Set rules for your teen, including wearing a seatbelt, driving only during the day and with limited distractions, including from their passengers. Finally, make sure your teen knows it is never okay to text and drive. For a sample driving agreement for teens, visit healthychildren.org.
Your smartphone just got a bit smarter. Text your computer questions now on our new text line. Text 205-8887. That's 205-8887.
And now, a check of your Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
We continue to enjoy some of the nicest weather imaginable for this time of year. Nice way to kick off the new month of August, this after one of the warmest Julys in Rochester weather history. We'll see ample sunshine today from hilltop to lakeshore. It'll be a little bit warmer than yesterday. The high temperature in the middle 80s. Look for increasing clouds tonight. A shower overnight. The low in the middle and upper 60s. Showers and scattered thunderstorms in store for Sunday. The high near 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we got partly cloudy skies, 82 degrees out at the airport, and 87 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Rankin Shaver of member-supported Jazz 90.1 with Smooth Grooves Wednesday evenings from 10 p.m. until 1 a.m. on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes. Before we go back to the phones, I just want to remind everybody that this Thursday at 7 p.m. we will have, on the 6th at 7 p.m., will be this month's Rochester Google's meeting. We'll have a Zoom link or some sort of video conferencing link up on the Facebook page shortly. Now back to the phones. We're still talking to Steve from Arundequoit, New York. What's your next question, Steve?
Hi. Well, I have, as I said, I did get a second notebook. It has a solid-state drive. It's refurbished, and I'm wondering, I know what happens when a regular hard drive goes bad. Is there a particular failure mode for solid-state drives? Anything I should be watching for when that starts getting old and not behaving itself?
Well, pretty much they die all the time.
The same kind of things, yeah.
Right.
Same kind of things. Okay.
Read-write errors. They die for different reasons, but they die about at the same rate.
About at the same rate and about in the same way as far as you're concerned. One thing you might do is check to see if it's a smart drive. SMART, which I don't even remember what that stands for.
Self-monitoring and real-time analytics, something like that.
Something like that, self-monitoring something. And if it is a smart drive, there are programs you can run that will monitor it.
Oh.
So you can check those regularly and see, it's running at 90% efficiency, 80% of whatever it ends up being.
And how many read-write errors error corrections it's getting. Okay. What's interesting is drive densities have gotten so high that all drives are error correcting all the time. And so a consistent number of errors is normal. But if there's so you have to know what normal is. And when you see a spike in the number of errors, then you know there's a problem.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Second question, or additional question was, now that I've got green light, I've got actually a couple of old DSL modems, or whatever you call them. I'm assuming there's no particular use for those anymore, or is there anything I could use those for?
Doorstop,
boat anchor.
Okay.
Most of the time, the phone company wants them back.
Well, in this case, it was one that I bought myself because at one point they were charging a monthly rate, and I figured it was cheaper to buy my own.
Yeah, it would be. No, I'm afraid there's not. Well, I suppose you could put them on eBay.
Okay.
Probably it'll cost you more to ship them to somebody than you'll make on them, but I think that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Have a nice day.
You too. That is the interesting dilemma with as technology gets newer, that old stuff is just not worth anything.
Yeah.
And often enough, the best thing you can do is wait for a recycling day and just bring it to them and give it to them.
Yeah, because you just don't want to throw it in the landfill because of the capacitors and everything else that are in there,
and the toxic metals that are they're fine in the device.
Yep.
But if they leach out into the soil, that's
which
bad.
they will in due time. I mean, we remember back in the day when we were running in. I think it was like the 486s. All of a sudden, they had a bunch of capacitors that after a year, all of a sudden there's
pop.
like they're a little K or an X on top, and it would pop open. You'd see them crusting if you took the cover off. You see them crusting, and then all of a sudden, boom, they'd pop, and all this stuff would leak out, and then acid type of stuff, and then leak all over the board, and then the computer started acting up more and more because it was shorting out stuff.
Yeah, but that's so you want to be careful of all of those things when you have old stuff like that. We tend to announce them as well, but most places have some sort of you can always pay to have someone take them off your hands, but there are a lot of free days throughout the year, and we usually announce them. So make a pile and take stuff with you. It used to be you could leave things out on the curb and somebody pick them up. Now they just crack them open on the curb and take one or two components out.
MicroWorks on Allens Creek has a recycling area that you can go into and drop stuff off, and then e-waste in Victor has a recycling area.
Right.
I think CRT televisions is the only thing you have to pay for.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I don't have any more of those. I did.
Yeah, same here.
I still have a couple. They work. My wife keeps saying we got to get rid of them, but they work.
Right.
Well, yeah, I had an old big, I think it was like 32-inch old TV, and my son-in-law took it over to Goodwill because it still worked. I mean, it was still a good working TV, 8, 10, 13, got it, no problem. And, I figured, what the heck? And he was going over that way, so he came over and saved me from hauling it from the attic.
Nice.
3 stories up, which there was no... if it came to anything, it would have left... that would have been left after I was long gone.
Yeah, right.
There was no way I was carrying that thing down all those flight of stairs.
I don't suppose there's any way I can adopt him for a couple weeks, is there?
Yeah.
All right, give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
Well, that's like I was telling Steve, back in the day, I might have done it. Like right now, I got this one project I want to do. And all I want to do is, and I'm too old to do it, is go up on a 40-foot ladder.
Yeah, right.
Up to the peak of my house and just simply screw in an eyeball. I just need somebody to do that. And trying to find somebody, that'll do it because, one, you got to have a 40-foot ladder.
Yeah.
And then to go up there, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, it's about a 10, 15-minute job because that's all you got to do is screw in an eye bolt for me.
Right.
And it's like, Well, you borrow the ladder. Yeah, I could, but I'm not going up there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm past that. I used to carry 70-pound CRT monitors up and down the stairs all the time. Not anymore.
I mean, I used to go when I had the house over on Roby Drive. I'd go up on the roof, go out there and clean the gutters. Well, it was a one-story house, no biggie. Nope, not anymore. I ain't not going up on ladders.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this is this amuses me. Google Maps is pretty much the go-to app for navigation these days, but it packs a lot of additional features as well, like offering business information and personalized recommendations, and now it even tells you streetlights and stuff. Google experimented with allowing users to follow select local guides last year, and now the company is expanding the program to include all users. That's right, Google Maps is now a social network. Rolled out globally on Thursday, but slowly, so you may not have it yet. Users on Google Maps who have shared photos, reviews, or lists publicly will be followable. The updated profiles look a lot like a Twitter or Facebook page with a follow button and the number of followers the account has. Once you follow a user, you'll receive their posts, recommendations, and other wisdom in the update tabs of the Maps app. If you'd prefer to keep your city's hidden gems to yourself, you can always make your profile restricted, which lets you manually approve people who request to follow you. Along with the new following features, there will also be new topic features on profiles that show off what a user posts the most about. While I don't foresee myself ever using this feature, although I am a local guide, it could be a cool, and I don't leave the house anymore. At least not in the last few months. I guess it would be a cool thing if you live in a bigger city with local guides who consistently post about all the new cool hangouts and takeout restaurants and stuff like that. So do you need or even want another social network? Give us a call. 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll free. 1-800-790-0415.
I have 2 accounts with Google Maps, and I share my location to the other account. And every now and then I get a message reminding me that you're sharing your location to this other account. Is that okay? Because I want to make sure no one else is getting my locations.
All right. Are we going to the phones? Okay. Our next caller is Ernesto from Parenton, New York. What's up, Ernesto? Hello? Ernesto?
Pushing buttons.
Didn't go.
You there? Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. We'll try one more time. That didn't take.
Too many buttons to push.
Senioritis.
Too many buttons to push on a phone system that wasn't designed to be pushed that way.
Right. All right, we'll see if we got him. Are you there, Ernesto?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what's up?
Yeah, listen, I have a 2010 Outlook, and I had to change my email because the old one got hacked. But the old email is attached to all the major files and everything, so I didn't want to delete it. Can I delete it safely? I've got 2 other emails in there, but I'm afraid to touch the machine, the program, and to make sure that I don't lose anything on other files like contacts and other things. Can I safely remove that old email that I don't use?
Well,
if you copy everything out of it that you want to keep, the email account contains your messages, your contacts, your calendar items, everything that you saved under that account name. So first you'd want to export your contacts and calendars that you want to keep from that account so you can import them into the new account.
Okay.
Assuming you made contacts and calendars.
Yes.
Right. So you would need to export all of those things, and those are all pretty much all exportable. And what you can do, is this Outlook on the web, or is this Outlook in your own computer?
No, it's in my desktop.
Okay. So you should open the File tab, and under Options, go to Advanced. And you can export your Outlook information to a file for use in other programs.
And I'm publishing a link now.
Okay. Steve's publishing a link.
I can hear his turn signal, so don't pay attention to us.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Steve's posting a link right now. You'll find that at soundbytes.org. That's Bytes with a Y. And you can export pretty much everything, and then from each of your email addresses, and import them into another email address or a different program or whatever you want to do.
Now, one thing you're going to see is that support for the Office 2010 apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, is ending, and so Microsoft is going to start giving you ads to upgrade to the new Office 365 for $99 a year. You don't need to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But you'll be seeing the ads. There's nothing you can do about the ads.
So I could stay with the 2010 though.
Yeah, you can stay with it. It'll be fine. You just will. There are certain upgrades. If there's a new feature, whatever, you won't get it. But 2010 will continue to work, and the same way it has been. But I would make sure that it's set up the way you want it before they kill support for it.
So just again, you go to the advanced option of the tab on file.
Well, yeah, Steve's posting a link. So when you get home.
Yeah,
check our website.
File Options Advanced Import Export Wizard.
Right.
Okay. And the only thing I would have to do is the contacts and the calendar.
Well, whatever you want to save from there, yes. And the other thing is, if people have sent you attachments that you want to keep, you'll have to go through each of those and save them out separately.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the update. Because I was afraid if I messed up, I would lose a lot of stuff.
It might even be easier just to go into the Outlook settings and change the username and password to the existing account.
But still back everything up first.
But have it back up anyway.
Still back it up, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of deleting that one and making a new one, just change the information.
Right.
Okay. But I'll try that. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Yep.
Oh yeah, our Chandra in the YouTube chat says it's SMART stands for Self-Monitoring, Analysis, and Reporting Technology. I suspect that's a backronym.
Yeah. Well, Steve Gibson has a story that SMART was invented to fight SpinRite. Because he had a contract with Compaq in the early days.
Oh, yeah.
Every hard drive Compaq used was run through SpinRite. And they had a 20% failure rate and sent it back to the manufacturer. And so the hard drive manufacturers started complaining about, we need to know what's wrong with these drives before they go to SpinRite.
You're right. So rather than making their own contract with SpinRite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the drive tries to predict when it's going to fail. We have seen some really interesting options. Hard drives are failing and have failed, and SMART says it's fine. But if SMART says it's failing, you can probably believe it.
Yeah.
But if it says it's fine, don't believe it.
Don't believe it. Exactly.
Well, remember back in the day of hard drives and the RLLs and all that.
MFM and
the MFM. They'd be you discover after a while that it was a 40 gig drive, but they found some bad sectors, so it was good as a 30 gig drive. So they would tokenize it, retokenize it as just a 30 gig. And folks were playing around games and they'd redo it. There was programs out there, and they'd go, maybe I can get 35 gig out of it.
Right.
And they were playing games with that, and some folks had good luck, and others would try to go to that area.
That's the way chips are made as well.
Yeah.
They only make one type of chip.
Right.
And then they test it at 3 gigahertz. If it passes, it's a 3 gigahertz chip.
Yep.
If it fails, they test it at 2.5.
And burn the EEPROM's different.
Right, and they just say, okay, it's a 2.5 gigahertz.
Yep.
But what happens is when they hit their quota of 3, they only test them at 2.5 until they hit that quota. So it could be a perfectly good 3 gigahertz chip.
But
it's labeled as 2.5
or
because
2.6 or 2.7.
Whatever, right.
Yeah, so
because they just didn't bother to test it. And that's why overclocking often works.
Yep.
Yeah. And remember interleaving? The drives couldn't read fast
Right.
enough to go sector by sector, so it would read every third sector, every fourth sector. And if you could re-interleave your drive as the computers got faster, you could make your hard drive faster.
Yep. But now, of course, it's all solid-state drives, and that's about as fast as you're going to get.
Yeah.
What limits you now is the speed of the transfer bus.
Yep.
That's the harder
There's
thing
always
to
going to
do.
be a bottleneck somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, they just can't get around it. They speed up one thing, and then it just creates a bottleneck somewhere else. So it's
Well, when I bought, and this is years ago now, when I bought my laptop, it was a Windows 10 laptop with a fast processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and a truly crappy 40 gig hard drive, which is what made it cheap. So I replaced the hard drive with another $40 SSD drive at 250 gig, which I got on sale, and put Ubuntu in it. It flies. It flies.
Well, it's just like that lady that called that said, she's got that Windows 10 machine and she does everything on the internet. My advice would have been to her that, if that machine ever dies again and she's having issues, go to a Chromebook.
Right, everything you do is on the web.
Which now Windows, they're creating more of a asserted effort to go to a Chromebook because Chrome is already up on the web. That's where Windows is going to be. Well, Chromebook's already doing it. It doesn't get the viruses, doesn't get the spyware, and it doesn't screw up your machine.
Right.
I mean, what's the downside on that?
Right. The problem is that Microsoft is losing market share to Chromebooks.
They're going to lose a lot more.
Time. And they're trying to figure out what they can do. So they figure the way to fight them is to become them.
And they're already too late to the party.
Yep.
I mean, Chrome has been doing it right along, and you're still going to have that same issue. I got an operating system. Granted, it's all web-based, but they're going to be able to hack it. And they're going to get in there and mess things up, brick things, or, spyware, malware, because that's the big thing right now. The spyware and the malware to get there and steal information out of your machine. That's how the folks are making money. They're stealing just a simple thing like your email list.
Yep.
And, they sell that. Now they're making money, whereas before viruses didn't make them any money.
Right.
Just wreaked havoc. No profit out of that. But, making money is what it's all about.
Yep. Before we go, I do want to say, if any of you watch the tech people on Capitol Hill this week, was that the end of the music? I didn't realize we were done.
It's the beginning of the end of the
The
music.
beginning of the end. In that case, I won't talk about that, but it was pretty funny. I'll just say this. One of the senators tried to get Sundar Pichai to do tech support for his mother's Gmail. And I thought, oh, yeah, okay. All right, that's it. We're done for another week. I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to thank Dave Enright, Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. It's 55 minutes after the hour. We want to thank you for listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. It's been Soundbites right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that we can continue to be member-supported Jazz 90.1. Remember, if you're a Google, Rochester Google's person, we'll be meeting this Thursday at 7 p.m. Check our Facebook page for the link to the virtual meeting, and we'll see you in just 166 hours.
Many employees unable to work because of COVID-19 related reasons may be able to take up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave and up to 10 more weeks of paid leave to care for their children whose schools or places of care have closed or whose daycare providers are unavailable. To find out if you qualify, visit dol.gov/FFCRA or call a trained professional at 866-4US-WAGE. This message is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Here's your invitation to join Jazz 90.1 and save. With the Jazz 90.1 member card, you get 2 meals for the price of 1 at restaurants locally and across the nation. Dine at dozens of local restaurants and save money, all while supporting Jazz 90.1. Just use your member card a few times and you'll easily recoup the cost of your membership. Ready to become a member of Jazz 90.1? Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299 today.